So, Hare Krishna, Praise Matajis. Welcome all of you. Thank you for joining this Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. So, 10th chapter, we are in this 10th chapter in Bhagavad-gītā now. So, today we'll be reciting two verses and discussing 10.10 and 10.11. So, let us recite 10 and 11. In fact, there are four seed verses since yesterday started 10.8, 9, 10, and 11. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam preti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam येन माम् उपयान्ति ते तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन माम् उपयान्ति ते. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. He said, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. 11th verse. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नाशयाम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So this chapter is entitled The Knowledge of the Absolute Truth. See, there is a connection between chapter 9 and chapter 10. Krishna, Krishna, he ended the 9th chapter, the 34th verse, right? With the importance to fix the mind on Krishna. The 9.3, Manmana Bhavat Bhakto, right? Therefore, 10th chapter describes the Lord's opulence on which a devotee can fix his mind. And also how to remember Krishna when we see the opulent, the powerful, the beautiful things in the world, right? That is the 10th chapter. So the conclusion of chapter 9 is that one should become a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, 10th chapter will increase our devotion by hearing more and more about Krishna's opulences. So 10.8, the first seed verse, 10.8 summarizes his opulences, Krishna's opulences. And the result of truly knowing Krishna's opulence, one becomes a pure devotee. The 10.9 verse describes how a pure devotee worships Krishna. And then the 10.10 and 11, these two verses describe Krishna's reciprocation with their loving worship. So Krishna gives us the required intelligence, right? The activities of a pure devotees are as given in 10.9. Attracting Krishna's mercy, who guides the devotee back to Godhead. See, this human form of life is compared to a highway, okay, on which we are traveling for miles and miles. There is only one exit out of from it, devotional service, and which takes us to Goloka. See, all the other exits which we take, we run around in circles, bringing us back to the same highway. And if we miss that one exit, we're back to square one. So it gives us the real urgency to utilize this precious, very, very precious human form of life to come out forever from this vicious cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So let us see the importance of the seed verses of Bhagavad-gītā. Chatur Shloki Bhagavad-gītā is known as 10.8, 9, 10, and 11. It's also known as the seed verse. See, as soon as we come to Bhagavad-gītā, we may decide that we have to study it. Okay. But the point is, we do not know from where to start. See, there are 700 verses in Bhagavad-gītā. But these four verses, 10.8, 10.9, 10.10, and 10.11, they are the seed verses. You know the seed? You put into the ground and water it, and the big tree comes out. Similarly, these four verses are also very potent. So in fact, out of these only these four verses, the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita is coming up. That is why these verses are very, very important. See, nobody will tell you unless you are very serious about studying these things in Bhagavad Gita. See, nobody will check, whether you have studied or not. It is our duty to study, find out from Bhagavad Gita, and try to get into this as soon as possible. Otherwise, see, as it is, our life is full of so many bad activities. So, in order to stop those bad activities, we have to strive ourselves. We have to try again and again. Because in all the lives, in all the previous lives, we have performed all these activities. That is why even in human life also, we have the same tendencies. But in this life, we have a higher consciousness. And we can think with our brain what is good for us, what is bad for us. So a very sane person, he forsakes the bad activities and comes to the good side. And as soon as you come to the good side, then the saints like Srila Prabhupada and his representatives, right? They are insisting that Bhagavad Gita has to be studied. Bhagavad Gita has to be studied. See, at least few verses we must know, right? So that we can convince our mind. Just by knowing these four verses is enough to convince our mind. And in order to convince our mind, the first verse, 10.8, is very powerful. First seed verse. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So aham sarvasya prabhava. I am the source of all generation. Mattas sarvam pravartate. From me everything emanates. Iti matva. Those who know this, bhajante mam, they will start worshipping me. They become devoted to me. So they become very intelligent, no? So they lovingly worship Krishna, Supreme Absolute Truth, in the morning and evening. See, introspection is the way to Krishna. Brahmaji prays, let me have the introspection to create. So Brahmaji is supposed to create. So he's praying, let me have the introspection to create. See, this word introspection means, let me look inward at my faults and not look outward at other people's faults. This is a point to understand about introspection. So this is how Brahmaji starts, right? See, we always look to solve our problems outwardly. Now, Brahmaji tried that for 100 celestial years and he failed. We do not have 100 celestial years. We do not have the luxury to fail also. So what do we do in our spiritual life? How to do it? We have to do introspection. We have to look inward. So Brahmaji's penance came in the form of introspection, drisham. So Prabhupada writes, in the Bhagavad-gītā, the Lord says that to those who constantly engage in devotional service with love and affection, Supreme Personality of God gives intelligence from within, and thus they may make further progress. So Brahmaji is the first person to apply Bhagavad-gītā 10.10. See, we do not look to other persons to become happy. If you are looking to the other person next to you to give happiness, then you are in a very sorry state of affairs, right? It will never happen. Better we look inward. Krishna is Artha Bandhu. He is a friend of the distressed. Only he can relieve the distress. So this is what Brahmaji is teaching us, that without being influenced by Krishna's transcendental transcendence and knowledge, which is revealed from within, right? A devotee cannot make spiritual progress. Krishna gave the knowledge to Brahmaji, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavi, from the heart. So devotional service is not an external show. All the festivals in Krishna consciousness begin internally. We may do everything else externally, but actually it starts from internal. So they're all meant to understand our relationship with Krishna. So this involves introspection. See, so many discoveries I've done by these scientists and all, you might have seen, right? They're also inspired by the Lord many times. See, many scientists in the world have been strong believers in God, mainly due to the fact that they were inspired from within in a second. about great discoveries, which could not have been possible by any amount of research. Certainly, let's see, one such famous discovery is the law of gravitation by Sir Isaac Newton. Everybody knows him, right? Which changed the history of physics, correct? So when Isaac Newton was sitting below an apple tree, an apple fell down. Then suddenly he started thinking, why it fell? And he arrived at the concept of gravity. So when Newton published this discovery as a research paper, in that paper he remarked, see that what he remarked. He said, I should certainly concede that the power of Almighty Lord only made me to sit below that tree and gave me the inspiration to work on the event of the falling apple. See, Newton was very honest and very true in this regard because the fruits have been falling from trees from the beginning of creation. And even before Newton, many people have been seeing falling objects. And Newton himself has seen many falling objects. And he never thought about this, right? Only the Supreme Lord inspired him at the right moment. So when the Lord inspires the living entities in terms of the sin or piety for good, bad, or good actions, in the case of a devotee who wants to return to Krishna and serve him eternally in the spiritual world, Krishna takes special care and directs him in devotional service so that the devotee may attain perfection. So Prabhupada mentions in 10.10 very inspiring points for struggling devotees like neophytes like all of us. He says, a person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization, but still, if he is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. So the qualification is that the person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. So the scriptures tell us that we don't have any intelligence on our own to reach the Lord. And we need to surrender to the Lord so that He will guide our intelligence. There's a nice mantra from Shvetaswara Upanishad which confirms this. It says, to that Supreme Lord who created Lord Brahma in the beginning and imparted Vedic knowledge to him, and to that Lord who stimulates the intellect, I, the seeker of liberation from material bondage, surrender completely. So let us pray at the lotus feet of Guru, Shri Prabhupada, and Krishna so that we will engage in Krishna consciousness with determination. There are different types of yoga, different steps of yoga. What is karma yoga? See, when one knows the goal is Krishna, okay, please hear, when one knows the goal is Krishna, but is addicted to the fruits, it is karma yoga. Second, jnana yoga. Now, when one knows the goal is Krishna, but takes pleasure in mental speculation to understand Krishna, he is acting in jnana yoga. Okay, the first one is when one knows that goal is Krishna, okay, but is addicted to the fruits, it's karma yoga. And one knows, secondly, when one knows the goal is Krishna, but takes pleasure in mental speculation to understand Krishna, is this, like that, then he is acting in jnana yoga. And when one knows the goal and seeks completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in buddhi yoga or bhakti yoga, highest perfection stage. So the Lord gives intelligence in bhakti yoga. So the only qualification is be sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service. And the only expectation is one should perform some sort of work for Krishna with love. That is very important to understand. This statue, difference between statues and murtis, archa vigraha, right? So the meaning of the murti, right? The translation was completely wrongly given. And it was forced upon our brain by the Britishers. They were here guests for almost 300 years, right? And they were unpaid guests. We paid that time. And this is how they try to destroy our own culture by giving us the wrong translations. Murti doesn't mean statue or idol. Murti means deity, transcendental form of the Lord. And that Murti has so much capacity, right? That millions of people are coming and going out and having the darshan in the temple, right? Who are inviting them? That is Akarshana, the attraction. He attracts, Krishna attracts. See, if it's a stone or wood or oil paint or whatever, has it any capacity to attract? Frankly speaking, this is a stone. But a murti is carved according to the descriptions of the scriptures. And because it is a murti now, it is no more a stone. If it would have been an ordinary stone, we might have thrown it out. Or if we take a picture of Krishna or any pastimes, frankly speaking, that picture is nothing but an ordinary paper. If there would not have been any association of Krishna with that paper, we would have thrown that paper also. The same way, if your life does not have any association with the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, it is to be thrown away. It will be rejected by anybody and everybody. But if you carry Krishna with you constantly, continuously, Tesham Satata Yuktana Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. So this is the condition. Tesham, you have to worship him. And how? Satata Yukta, always. So you arrange your activities in this way, then you will not forget him. Even for a single second, you will not forget. And your life will be completely, very highly elevated. You know, when Manu, Swami Manu, along with his wife, earnestly prayed to his father, Lord Brahma, to instruct them as to how they could serve him. Brahma was very pleased. And he says in Bhagavatam 3:39, Lord Brahma said, my dear son, O Lord of the world, I am very pleased with you. He's telling to his son, and I desire all blessings for both you and your wife. You have without reservation surrendered yourself unto me with your heart for my instructions. See the blessings the father gives to the son and wife. So in this, the purport, Prabhupada very nicely explains the sublime relationship of father and son. He says, the father is naturally disposed with goodwill towards the son, and is always ready to help the son in his progress of life. But in spite of the father's goodwill, the son is sometimes misguided. Why? Because of his misuse of personal independence. So every living entity, however small or big he may be, he has the choice of independence. Now, the son is, Prabhupada says, if the son is unreservedly, no reservation, unreservedly willing to be guided by the father is 10 times more eager to instruct and guide him by all means. See, elders usually are our well-wishers. When we behave properly and earnestly request for advice, they are all the more pleased and they guide us and bless us wholeheartedly. Same thing holds true for our Supreme Father, Lord Krishna also. See, there are two things which are common to all living entities in this world. First is death. The second truth is that every one of us are blessed with 24 hours in a day. But in a given day, we find so many sincere souls doing tremendous amount of service, whereas we are wasting so much time. So this difference is due to the level of our surrender to Krishna and how much interest we have to serve Krishna. This is the difference. See, although as a loving father, Krishna takes care of all the living entities in this world, he takes special care to wipe out the darkness of ignorance from the hearts of his pure devotees, who sincerely seek his instructions and guides them more and more. That's why Krishna promises in 10.11, Tesham evanukam partham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayami atmabhavasto jnanadipena bhasvata. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So let us all be obedient children of the Supreme Lord, and surrender to Krishna without reservation, so that we can properly listen to the directions of Lord Rishikesha and act accordingly in our lives. This four verses, this seed verses, very, very important for us to understand, because whole potency is being invested in these four seed verses. As you know, the seed, just by watering and the seed, the whole thing, big tree grows. So the whole 700 verses has got the potency from these four seed verses. So that's why very, very important. So that's why the difference between connection between 9th and 10th chapter we saw in the beginning, right? Krishna ends the 9th chapter with the importance to fix the mind on Krishna. Manmana bhavam bhaktu madhyayama namaskuru. Right? And the 10th chapter describes the Lord's opulence, on which a devotee can fix his mind. And then also how to remember Krishna when we see the opulent, the powerful, beautiful things in this world, right? So conclusion of chapter 9 is that one should become a pure devotee of the Lord. And 10th chapter will increase our devotion by hearing more and more about Krishna's opulences. Shravanam Kirtanam. Very, very important. So let us always, every day we are hearing Bhagavad-gītā, right? So we go on hearing again and again and understand the practical impact of those verses and what is Krishna revealing to us, how to behave in this material world practically in your day-to-day lives, right from morning till night. What are we doing? Think about Krishna 24 hours a day. Satata Yuktana. So that's important. So Granthra Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. Hare Krishna for this opportunity to glorify the Lord and purify myself. Vancha kalpatarubhya kripa sindhuvaya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji.